What's up, guys? I'm Newbie Dave, and welcome to the Weekend Update. Let's get started. So how's it going, everybody? Hope you're having a fantastic weekend. Today's build, it may seem a little odd, it may seem a little strange to some of you, but I don't care. It's something that I want to do, and this is my series, so I'm going to do it. So if you've been watching this series for more than like 3 episodes, you probably realize that this is my new base that I've built here in the mountains. And my original base is way down there to the south. I don't have my map on me, but it's not south. It's over that direction, whatever that is, west, I think. And I have a nether portal. I've got tunnels running through the nether that I can use to get back and forth to my base, which is fine, but that's not the only place that I go. Eventually, sometime soon, I would like to maybe go build a raid farm over there at that little Elytra outpost. That would be fun. I've got my little winter time race course way down there to the south that I built. Periodically, I go out and do some exploring, some resource gathering, and all of those things. I guess I could connect them all up in the nether and build a big nether tunnel network. That's not really my style, though. What I tend to do is just kind of fly around, and that takes a lot of rockets. It takes at least 1 rocket just to get out of my base because I'm surrounded by all these mountains, and then it takes several rockets to get back. So what I want to do today is come up to one of these tall peaks. I'm thinking this one right here. And I want to build like a giant glider platform. Basically, this is going to be like a tower that goes all the way up to the height limit of the world with a water elevator that will like shoot you all the way up there very quickly. And once you're up there, you can jump off and glide. And I've done this in my realm, and you can glide incredibly far, especially now that the height limit's been increased to 320. You can literally glide from one end of a fully zoomed out level 4 map to the other and never have to use a rocket. So that's what I want to do today. I want to build this giant gliding tower that will help me to get around. Now, because I'm going to be building this thing up on top of a mountain here, it would kind of defeat the purpose if I had to use rockets to get up to it and then like get up to the top. The reason that I'm doing this is so I can get around more easily without using rockets. So before I build anything going up, I'm actually going to dig down a little bit. And let me look at my coordinates over there. So my Z coordinate right now is 288. So 288 down here is going to be right here. And so I'm actually going to come down here and I'm going to dig over. I'm going to go into this cliff face a little bit. And I probably should have marked my X coordinate while I was up there. I'll have to go back up there and get that as well to know how far in that I need to dig. And so basically I'm going to have the entrance, the bottom of this thing is going to be down here at Y119, which is much closer to ground level for my base right now. I can just walk over to this. It's pretty close to where I'm building everything. Don't have to use any rockets or climb up to it. This will be where I enter the water elevator, and then I'll shoot myself up to the world limit, and from there I can glide to anywhere I want in the world. Okay, so I went back up top, got the X coordinate for where I want this thing to be built. It was 1,531. So this should be directly below where I'm going to build this thing, where the water column is going to go. So now I'm going to go do something that you should never do in Minecraft. I'm going to dig straight down. The reason that I am comfortable doing this is because, first of all, I'm not going to be digging down below like what's considered sea level. That tends to be where you encounter lava and big open caves and everything. And so there shouldn't be any big open areas where I could fall and take damage or run across lava or something. And also, I've already been down at the bottom of this shaft that I'm going to be digging out, and I know what's down there. There we go. And so that was a reasonably safe little hole to dig straight down. If you already know what's below you, there's not really much risk in just digging straight down. Alright, so this is going to be where we enter the bubble column. I'm not going to do the water just yet, but I am going to go ahead and put down the buttons. I'm going to use buttons to keep the water from flowing out. That way when we do fill this whole thing in with water, it won't flow back into the tunnel over here. Now the reason that I chose this peak to build this thing is because this is already pretty high up. It's pretty close to the world limit. If I'd built it way down there, I would have had to make it like another 80 or 90 blocks tall, which is going to take more resources, and so this way we don't have to use as many resources. That being said, it's still going to take a ton of resources, as you can see here. So I'm going to shuffle a few of these things around, and what I'm going to be doing, you could get away with building this with like half as many resources, because I'm naturally going to be making this thing much more complicated than it needs to be in order for it to look nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do just a big column. In the corners, I'm going to use this stone brick block. You know, I've never really used this before, but it looks, I'm just kidding. I love stone brick blocks. And then I'm going to do glass panes on the sides like this. So I'm going to go all the way up on all four sides with this build palette. And I thought about doing like some lighting every here and there, like maybe every 10 rows to put some torches or some lanterns on the sides or something. I don't think I'm going to do that. This is going to be very tall. There's going to be water in the middle. It just, yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to build it because it's already taking 9.5 stacks of 2 different resources. Yeah, I'm just going to go straight up. So what I think I'm going to do, just to kind of speed things along here, is just work on one resource at a type. I'll go all the way up to the height limit with one corner, and then I'll go back down and do like another corner or work on the glass panes next, and I'll just do one column at a time. Alright, so I made it up to the world limit. Something I should have said before I got started, make sure you bring some food with you, because all this jumping is going to deplete your hunger, and make sure you've got your Elytra, because you don't want to get up here and then not have a good way down. I suppose you could use a water bucket to just like, you know, pour water over the side, but you're really high up. You don't want to deal with that. So I'm up here at Y 319. The height limit is technically 320, but you can't actually build. Oh, okay, yeah, you can. I guess now I'm at 320, so that block is at 319. I don't know if the block that I'm standing on is the Y level or the block above that. But yeah, here we are at 320. As you can see, I can't build above that anymore because that is 320. So this is where I'm going to stop. So now I will go back down, which is actually a little bit terrifying. And I'll work on one of the other sides or corners now. All right, I have finished the 4 corners of these stone bricks, and now I just need to put in the glass panes. As I mentioned before, you don't have to go this extravagant. You can skip the corners. Really all you need are the 4 blocks right around the center column where the water is going to be to contain the water. I just added the corners because I think it's going to look a whole lot better to have the corners in there with the windows going through the middle. I think that's going to look really, really nice. Also, it occurred to me while I was working on this that I might actually need to stop a little bit short of the height limit. I realized that I'm building this in a snowy biome and really, really high, and so water source blocks that are exposed to the sky can freeze, and I'm pretty sure that includes at the height limit as well. And so it's very, very possible, I would say almost a certainty, that once I finish building this and getting it all hooked up, the top block is going to freeze and I'm going to like be stuck in the water and have to break it. So for that purpose, I may end up having to remove like 2 or 3 rows from the top of this thing, just so that I can place a block above the center column to keep the water inside from freezing. Also, the reason I'm using glass panes instead of just glass for this is twofold. One, like with slabs, you can get way, way more panes than from the same number of glass blocks. So it takes 6 glass blocks to make 16 glass panes. And so that's like 3 times as many resources, or as much output from the same number of resources. And also, as you can see, there's a little bit of gap around the panes. If I just use regular glass blocks, while you're going up the water elevator, you're completely submerged in water the whole time, and you have the water fog effect as you look around. But with the glass panes, you can actually like squeeze in between the water and the glass, and so you can actually see through the glass, and it just provides a much, much better view as you're going up the elevator. Okay, so I verified it, and yes, indeed, water at this height level will freeze. Probably not in any biome. I'm sure in some hot biomes like deserts, it will not freeze at any elevation, but because I'm in a snowy mountain biome, it will freeze here. So what I need to do, I'm going to go ahead and place a block right here, and that's going to be the block that provides cover. And then I'm going to dig the rest of this down by, I think, 3 blocks. Yeah, I'll go down to 317. And I'll just break out everything around here. So the top of this is actually going to be at 317. And that way we have a block above it that will keep the water from freezing, and there's still enough space for us to get out of here. So next thing I'm going to do, I need to place a water source up at the very top so it will flow all the way down. We could kind of go down at the bottom and just start working our way up with water source blocks, but this thing is 140, 150 blocks tall. I'm not gonna do that. And so I'm gonna just let it flow, and then we'll use kelp to fill the whole thing in. But because these are panes, I can't place water on the panes or else it'll waterlog the pane and flow over both sides. So what I'm going to do is replace one of these with a stone brick block temporarily, just so I have something to place a water source right there. And now we can replace this with a glass pane, and the water should be flowing all the way down. I'm going to take the shortcut and go down here and head over to a cave that we built and start working my way up from the bottom. It's going to take a little bit for the water to actually flow all the way down here from 320. You can kind of see it coming. Here it comes. So in the meantime, I'm going to get out my soul sand and my kelp, and we're going to replace, hey, there's the water. We're going to replace that block with, actually no, that needs to be like regular sand or dirt or something. I always forget you have to plant the kelp first, and then once you have everything turned into water source blocks, then you come and put the soul sand in there. So we'll start adding kelp, and the kelp is going to turn flowing water into water source blocks. And so that's why we're using this. And you'll notice I'm losing air, and I don't think I have enough air to make it all the way up to the top. So I had enough forethought to bring a potion of water breathing with me. So this will give me enough water breathing to make it all the way up to the top with kelp. And then back down, and we'll break all the kelp and turn it all into a bubble elevator. So do not forget your water breathing potion. Interesting fact, I think kelp on its own naturally can only grow to be, I think, like 27 blocks tall. And so I don't actually know why you can just place kelp as tall as you want and go all the way up to the world limit. I don't know why you can do that if it can only grow 27 or 30 blocks naturally, but I'm glad you can. All right, we're up at the very top. Now we need to get back down to the bottom again. And now we can break this, replace the dirt with the soul sand, and that will make a bubble elevator that goes all the way up to the very top. And we'll go ahead and take this so we can collect all of our kelp that broke. And you'll see right here what I was talking about. Since I'm in water right now, you can't really see anything, but I can just scooch over, and now I have a really nice view of the world as I'm going up the elevator. So one last thing, and I guess it's kind of nice that this isn't at the world limit, because now it gives us a little bit of room to build. I'm going to build kind of a little safety platform up here. And now that I look at it, I did not actually bring enough of these. That's okay, we'll figure out something to do. So I'm going to put some polished andesite stairs around the edges. Yeah, I don't know where I got the number 9. I was thinking 3 on all sides, which should actually be 12. And so, looks like I'm going back down again. There we go. Now I'm going to do slabs in the corners like this. And I'm actually going to replace these panes at the very top with some double slabs, or you could just do a solid block. Just so that up here on the very top is kind of a consistent texture. I realize I've got a mix of stone bricks and polished andesite, but it's all stone. And then I'm also going to come out in the middle by 2 blocks in each direction. And this is going to be like the launch pads. This is where you're going to jump from if you want to go exploring in any direction. And then I'm going to surround the rest of it with spruce fences in the corners like this, just so you don't, accidentally fall off in the wrong spot. And then one last thing, now that I've got some slabs, I'm going to replace this block with a slab, just so it's not quite as big and gives us a little bit more headroom here. So there we go. Here is our gliding platform. So we will enter it from down at the ground level. We'll get shot all the way up to the top. And now we can jump off and soar across the map to anywhere we want to go pretty much. I wish I brought my map with me. I think it's down in my storage room. Yeah, I'll go get it some other time. Right now I'm just going to show you how this bad boy works. So I know that my original base is in that direction. It's not due east, it's east and a little bit south. So I'm going to jump off and we're going to glide all the way to my original base and not use any rockets. So this is really going to save us on a lot of rockets as we go out and go exploring. I think I'm going to build one of these at my old base as well so I can get back without having to use any rockets or go through the nether. And it also just, it's a much nicer view because you get to see the overworld, which looks better than the nether in my opinion. And you don't have to do anything, you just point in a direction and go. Whereas going through the nether, you have to walk, you have to climb things, you have to go through the portal. So I just think that this is a lot more convenient. And here we are back at our base with plenty of elevation to spare. Can do a couple loops and come in for a nice safe landing. So yeah, here's my map. We'll take a look at this. You can see my white arrow is where I am right now. It's my new base. The green arrow is my old base that I just flew to. So I literally glided across the entire map and still had plenty of elevation to spare when I got to the other side. So this is a really, really nice technique to be able to glide, 2,000, maybe even 3,000 blocks without having to use any rockets. One last thing I'm going to do before I call this build complete, if I can, take off, is I'm going to come up here to the base of this thing on the top of the mountain, and I'm going to replace 2 of these glass panes with buttons. And this is just going to provide a way to get into this thing from the very top. Say I'm coming back from exploring and I want to, shoot up to the top of this thing and go back out again. It would be kind of annoying to have to go all the way down there, go through the cave to get back in. So this way I just have an easy way to get back into this thing from the top, or I guess it's like the middle, the bottom of the top of the mountain. Yeah, and not have to go through the cave down below. Oh no, you don't, creeper. Perhaps I need some better protection up here. And that is going to wrap things up today. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you enjoyed this build. Even if you don't use this for gliding, it just looks really cool. I mean, look how high up we are. It looks really cool from the bottom. It gives you a really nice view of the world around. It's just a fun build. It's also a really good way to freak people out. I mean, look at this. Ah. Big shout out to my patron Summer. Thank you so much for your support. Really, really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit that like button, and while you're down there, feel free to subscribe so you'll get notified of future episodes as they come out. Thanks y'all, and have a great day.